Modern dating isn't about love. It's not even about real connection. It's a game of delusion, where women chase fantasies, men chase illusions, and everyone ends up empty, miserable, and broken. Let me show you why the dating marketplace is nothing like what you think it is. Think about it. He's scrolling Tinder, swiping right on every woman he sees, hoping 1 out of 100 will match. She's swiping too, but not to find love. She's swiping for validation, to see how many men will line up just to give her attention. He's chasing a girlfriend, she's chasing a dopamine hit, and both will walk away saying, "Dating sucks." Why? Because the modern dating marketplace isn't designed for love, it's designed for attention economics. It's a game of smoke and mirrors, where reality no longer matters. Here's the brutal truth. 80% of women swipe right on the same 10% of men. That means the majority of men are invisible, ignored, ghosted, forgotten, while women live in a fantasy bubble where every man they see is 6 feet 3 inches, drives a foreign car, and has the lifestyle of a celebrity. It's delusion at scale, amplified by apps, fueled by social media, and normalized by a culture that tells women they deserve it all, while telling men they should be grateful for whatever they can get. Let's be real. Instagram is the biggest dating app in the world. Every post, every selfie, every bikini picture is bait. Men flood the comments with thirsty emojis, desperate paragraphs, digital worship. She doesn't even read half of them. She's not interested in those men. She's interested in the attention, the illusion of endless options. And here's where it gets twisted. Most of those options aren't real. That blue checkmark sliding into her DMs. He's doing the same to 100 other women. That guy liking her photos. He's broke, lonely, and living with his mom. But in her head, she's convinced, I could have anyone I want. Meanwhile, the average man is invisible. He's busting his ass at work, hitting the gym, maybe trying to save money, and he can't even get a text back. Two sides of the same game. One side drowning in fake abundance, the other side starved in forced scarcity. This is why modern dating feels broken. It's not that love disappeared, it's that delusion replaced it. Women don't see men as they are. Men don't see women as they are. Both are blinded by the filters, the likes, the swipes, the endless cycle of validation and rejection. Welcome to the dating marketplace of 2025. Not love, not connection. A dopamine casino where attention is the currency and everyone is losing. Here's the greatest lie of modern dating. Women don't have options. They have the illusion of options. And that illusion is the drug fueling the entire dating marketplace. Let's break it down. Open up Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, or Instagram. A woman can post one picture and instantly have dozens, maybe hundreds of men in her DMs. Likes, comments, "You're gorgeous, queen, wife material." To her, this feels like abundance, like she's the prize, and every man on the planet wants her. But here's the catch. Most of those men don't actually want her. They want sex, they want validation, they want a chance, but they don't want her as a person. This is the difference between quantity and quality. Women confuse one for the other. She sees 500 likes and thinks, I must have 500 suitors. But strip it down and the truth is brutal. Maybe 5 of those men would even consider her for something serious. Maybe one of them is actually compatible. The rest? Ghosts. Here's where it gets darker. Dating apps run on brutal math. Multiple studies have shown that 80% of women swipe right on the same top 10% of men. That means women are competing for a tiny slice of men while ignoring the rest. And because those men know they're the prize, they rarely commit. They spin plates, entertain options, and move on quickly. So while women believe they have endless choice, what they really have is shared access to the same small pool of men. Think about it. If 10 women are chasing the same high-value man, only one can have him. The other 9 get left with broken expectations. That's not abundance, that's competition. Now add Instagram to the mix. Forget Tinder. Instagram is the true global dating app. Every bikini picture, every girls' night out selfie, every vacation shot is bait. And the response? Thousands of likes, hundreds of thirsty DMs, men from around the world offering attention. Again, she believes this means she could have anyone she wants. But in reality, these men don't know her. They're reacting to a filtered illusion. She mistakes validation for options. And men? They pay the price. Here's the paradox. Women have never felt lonelier than in today's world of supposed endless options. Because abundance without discernment creates paralysis. When she thinks she can always do better, she never commits. When she thinks the grass is greener, she never waters her own garden. This is why you see women in their late 20s or 30s panicking, saying, "Where have all the good men gone?" They were there the whole time, she just couldn't see them through the haze of her illusions. Modern dating is not about real options, it's about inflated egos and false abundance. Women believe they're queens in a castle full of suitors, when really they're just standing in line for the same 10% of men. That's the delusion, that's the game, and men need to see it for what it is. Here's the harsh truth. Modern dating isn't about finding love, it's about chasing dopamine. Dating apps, Instagram, TikTok, they're not relationship tools, they're slot machines disguised as romance. Every swipe, every notification, every like is designed to light up the brain's reward center the same way a casino does. And women, they've been conditioned into addicts. Neuroscientists call dopamine the anticipation chemical. It spikes not when you get the reward, but when you might get it. That's why slot machines are more addictive than guaranteed payouts. You never know when the hit is coming, so you keep pulling the lever. Now swap the slot machine for Tinder. She swipes right. Maybe he's hot, maybe he's not. Her phone buzzes. Maybe it's him, maybe it's someone else. She posts a selfie. Maybe 20 likes, maybe 200. Every maybe is another dopamine surge. This isn't love, it's chemical gambling. This is the brutal reality most men refuse to see. Women aren't addicted to you, they're addicted to the feeling you create. She doesn't need to sleep with every guy in her DMs. She just needs to know she could. That possibility, that illusion, keeps her hooked. That's why she'll ghost the guy who actually wants her while texting 6 others just in case. That's why she'll keep an orbit of men liking her photos, responding to her stories, and validating her ego. To her, your attention is the drug, and the second you give it too freely, she feels nothing. Because addicts don't crave abundance, they crave scarcity. But don't get it twisted, men are addicts too. Men are addicted to the hope of reciprocation. He sends a message, hoping for the ping. He likes her photo, hoping she'll notice. He takes her out, pays for dinner, hoping this time she'll finally choose him. It's the same casino loop. The difference? Women feed on abundance, men feed on scarcity. He's starving for one reply while she's drowning in 100. And the end result? Both are dissatisfied. This is the cruel irony. The more tools we build to connect, the more disconnected we become. A 2022 study in the journal Computers in Human Behavior found that heavy dating app users reported lower satisfaction with their romantic lives than non-users. More swipes, more matches, less happiness. Why? Because when every interaction is about dopamine hits, nobody slows down to build intimacy. It's not about partnership, it's about performance. Not about love, about leverage. Modern dating is not a search for soulmates. It's a dopamine casino where everyone is hooked on the feeling of being wanted, not the reality of being chosen. And like every addiction, the crash is coming. Here's where the fantasy dies. Because behind the filters, the likes, the DMs, and the endless swipes, the numbers tell the truth. And the truth is savage. On dating apps, women swipe right on only 10% of men, according to multiple studies. That means if you're not in the top 10% in looks, status, height, or charm, you're invisible. Invisible. Not, she's not sure. Not, she's weighing her options. No, she literally doesn't even see you. This is why so many average men describe dating apps as digital wastelands. You can swipe hundreds of times and get 0 matches. Meanwhile, women are overwhelmed with options they never intend to pursue. It's not a fair marketplace. It's a rigged lottery. Women scroll through endless matches, convinced they're drowning in options. But here's the twist. Most of those men aren't serious. That tall, ripped guy she matched with, he's not looking to settle down. He's juggling 10 other women. The flashy guy with the car pics? He borrowed that Lambo for a weekend rental. The smooth talker in her DMs? He sent the exact same message to 3 other girls that night. But in her mind, she thinks, I can do better. I deserve more, and that illusion keeps her chasing men who will never choose her, while dismissing the men who actually would. Let's talk numbers. 78% of women say they want a man taller than them. But the average American man is 5 feet 9 inches. Less than 15% of men are 6 feet or taller. Already, most men are disqualified. 65% of women say they prefer a man who earns above average income. But by definition, half of men are below average. Add fitness, social status, charisma, and suddenly we're down to a tiny pool of men. That's the delusion of modern dating. Women believe they all deserve a man in the top 10%. But math doesn't lie. If 100 women want the same 10 men, 90 are going home disappointed. This is why modern women hit the wall. They spend their early 20s convinced that abundance is reality. Endless attention, endless validation, endless options. But attention is not commitment. Options are not choices. And validation is not love. By the time reality hits, when the DMs dry up, when the matches slow down, when the men they once ignored won't look back, it's too late. They wasted their prime years chasing a fantasy. Here's the paradox. The men who spend years ignored, ghosted, overlooked, they start to see the system for what it is. And once a man sees the game, he can never unsee it. That's why more and more men are checking out of the dating market entirely. They're tired of being invisible, tired of being judged against impossible standards, tired of playing a rigged game where the only winners are the top 10% and the women who chase them. This is the reality check. Modern dating isn't a fair marketplace. It's a delusional pyramid scheme where most people end up empty. And unless men wake up to it, they'll keep wasting their years chasing illusions instead of building themselves. This is where the whole machine spins into madness. Women chase fantasy men who won't commit. Men chase women who aren't really available. And both sides train themselves to want the wrong thing. It's a feedback loop of self-deception that destroys futures. Listen to the loop. She sees the highlight reels, luxury posts, late-night DMs, guys who never show up but command attention. She convinces herself those men equal value. So she chases the illusion, the mystery, the status, the drama. He sees the filtered life, the constant attention, and he convinces himself she's abundant and easy to get. He chases validation through attention, comments, likes, small talk. When she pulls away, he doubles down. When she returns, he thinks he won her, neither learned anything real. This is the delusion cycle. 1. Create the illusion. Post, flex, ghost a little, build scarcity and mystery. 2. Rack up validation. 100 DMs, 1,000 likes, every ego stroked. 3. Raise standards in your head. I deserve more. I can do better. 4. Reject real options. The steady, available man is dismissed as boring, while the detached man remains an object of obsession. 5. Repeat. The loop tightens and accelerates. Here's the brutal payoff. The detached man never promised commitment. The high-value fantasy seldom translates to loyalty. Most of these spotlight men are entertainers, abundant in attention, bankrupt in responsibility. They provide hot moments, not hot futures. And men who chase, they waste years trying to be what the algorithm rewards instead of who actually makes a life worth living. They tailor themselves to get likes, to spark an impulsive DM, to win an Instagram flirtation. And then they wake up 5 years later with no real partner, no kids they chose, no shared life built with someone who knows them. This isn't just dating noise, it rewires priorities. When attention becomes the metric of value, people stop investing in depth. They stop asking hard questions. Who matches my values? Who will be there when the project fails? Who will raise children, share bills, build a home? Instead, the only question becomes, who will boost my social proof? Here's a truth most creators won't say. The people you meet in the dopamine economy are largely performative. They're actors auditioning for short-term validation. Long-term relationships aren't built in open DMs and highlight reels. They're built in boring, expensive, unshareable moments. Late-night bills, hospital visits, failures, and the grind of everyday life. Those moments are unattractive to the attention-seeking mind. So what does the delusion cycle produce? Broken timelines. Men who gave up on marriage because the system is rigged and the reward wasn't real. Women who face a wall of dwindling options because they spent the prime years auditioning for a fantasy that never reciprocated. A culture that confuses spectacle for substance. If you want to escape the loop, stop playing by the rules the market sets. Stop optimizing for likes and short-term thrills. Learn to spot the difference between a man who adds noise and a man who adds value. Learn to value presence over performance. Most importantly, refuse to let your self-worth be decided by a feed engineered to keep you hungry. This isn't theory, it's the wreckage you wake up to when the dopamine buzz fades. The delusion cycle doesn't just ruin dates, it destroys timelines, sanity, wallets, and futures. If you want to see the price of living in the attention economy, look at the men who stayed in the game too long. You think you're trying to find someone. What you're really doing is burning years on auditions, endless matches, ghosting, shallow hookups, orbiting women who never intended to commit. It all eats time. Men in their prime spend thousands of hours courting illusions, crafting profiles, chasing replies, buying drinks for women who'll ghost them next week. That's time you'll never get back. Time that could have been invested in skill, career, fitness, or real relationships. The validation loop chews up mental health. Rejection becomes a personal identity crisis. One minute you feel momentarily worthy because of a like, the next you're back in the hole because a message went unread. Anxiety spikes. Self-worth becomes tied to notifications. Studies on heavy social media use show higher rates of loneliness and depression. That's not surprising. When your value is determined by an algorithm, your inner life pays the price. Men report increased social isolation, rage, and despair when confronted with chronic invisibility on the apps. That quiet, simmering anger turns into cynicism, then avoidance. And eventually, many men opt out entirely. Dating in the modern age costs more than dinners. There are subscription apps, weekend getaways to prove status, trendy clothes, gym memberships, cosmetic tweaks. For men trying to signal value, it becomes an arms race. New car flexes, designer logos, premium profiles, influencer-style photo shoots. All of it subsidizes an illusion that rarely returns a stable partner. Meanwhile, financial risk in relationships is real. Breakups with shared leases, child support, legal fees, all happen when the fantasy economy turns into legal reality. Too many men who chased validation end up poorer and more isolated. Men think their options are endless. Women are told otherwise, and then the wall hits. The fallout of delayed commitment is real. Shorter windows for serious relationships, rushed choices, and regret. Women who spent prime years auditioning in the dopamine economy often reach a point where real options narrow. Men, meanwhile, find fewer willing partners who want to build long-term lives. Babies and families are not built on DMs and highlight reels. They require time, sacrifice, and mutual commitment, the very things the market devalues. This is not only personal, it's cultural. Communities fray when fewer men marry, fewer fathers stick around, and families destabilize. Economies built on household formations suffer. Young men watching the winners on the top of the pyramid either try to emulate them and fail or withdraw altogether. That withdrawal becomes a social problem. Disengaged men, less civic participation, and a population that's more fragile and less anchored. There's another price, the corrosion of authenticity. Chasing the game teaches you to perform, to market yourself, to commodify intimacy. That changes how you relate to people forever. You start optimizing for outcomes, not character. You trade depth for optics. And in the end, that's the cruelest cost. You become a version of yourself designed to win likes, not to build a life. Enough with the noise. If you're still here, you want the way out. Good. There is a way out. But it isn't sexy, it isn't fast, and it sure as hell isn't easy. It's built on discipline, values, and mission. It's the exact opposite of the dopamine economy. It's how you stop being a player on someone else's stage and become the director of your life. Rule 1. Own your values. Decide who you are, not the person your match is like, not the man your feed tells you to be. Pick values that actually matter: integrity, responsibility, courage, competence. Write them down, live by them. When your compass is fixed, you stop drifting toward every notification that demands your attention. Rule 2. Build ritual, not reaction. The addicted swipe is reactive. The disciplined man is ritualistic. Wake up at the same time. Train your body. Read work. Create. Protect your calendar like it's your only real asset, because it is. The men who win life aren't the ones who chased the most DMs. They're the ones who turned hours into skill, pounds into strength, capital into freedom. Rule 3. Become scarce in the right way. Scarcity in dating is manipulated by social media. Scarcity in life is real: time, focus, self-mastery. Be a man who's hard to access because you're busy making something worthwhile. The universe rewards builders. Women, the discerning kind, will sense it. The rest? Let them orbit. You're not here to collect validation. You're here to build a life that attracts the right kind of woman, not the loudest chorus of attention seekers. Rule 4. Practice purpose-driven social signals. Status signaling is everywhere, but instead of fake flexes, signal with substance: a steady career, a tough body, calm confidence, financial prudence. Those are the real posters of value. They're quiet, durable, and they compound. They also filter out noise. The attention junkies fall away. The serious people remain. Rule 5. Learn the art of refusal. Saying no is a muscle. Say no to cheap validation, to drama, to late-night messaging that gives nothing in return. Say yes only to things that move your mission forward, relationships included. When you refuse the shallow, you make room for the meaningful. Rule 6. Adopt long-run thinking. If you're optimizing for likes and instant thrills, you'll bankrupt your future. Think in decades. Invest in skills, relationships, and health that pay compounded returns. Date like you'd hire a business partner. Look for alignment, reliability, and shared values, not sparks that fizzle. Rule 7. Lead with honor, not with bitterness. Building strength doesn't mean becoming cruel. It means being wise, measured, and generous on your own terms. Protect your peace. Be fair. Be firm. Don't weaponize your pain. Convert it into clarity and strategy. This is your blueprint. Not quick fix hacks. Not manipulative tricks. Real work. Real time. Real sacrifice. The men who walk off the carousel and build something lasting don't complain about the market. They change their position in it. They stop trading pixels for purpose and start trading hours for legacy. If you took anything from this, put it into action today. Pick one ritual, one value, and one project. Start now. If you've seen through the delusion, like the video, share it with a brother who needs to wake up and subscribe to the channel. Support the mission using the link in the description below. Stay disciplined, stay purposeful, and I'll see you in the next one.